The Brahmaputra River isn't just a body of water, it's a lifeline. Flowing through China, India, and Bangladesh, it nourishes over 200 million people, supporting agriculture, providing drinking water, and shaping cultures. But what happens when a nation as powerful as China decides to harness and control the river's flow for its own purposes? That's exactly what's happening with the construction of a massive dam in Tibet. This project could change the course of history, turning a shared resource into a point of conflict. Could this dam spark a geopolitical storm that impacts India and Bangladesh? Let's take a deep dive into the potential consequences of China's Brahmaputra Dam and why the stakes are higher than ever. In the rugged, remote mountains of Tibet, China is building what could become one of the largest hydroelectric dams in the world. This isn't just a regular dam, it's a megastructure designed to harness the power of the Brahmaputra River, generating electricity that could fuel entire regions. The project is part of China's ongoing push to control its water resources, improve energy production, and exert greater influence over its neighbors. This dam, still under construction, is projected to have a capacity of over 10,000 megawatts of electricity. It's not just an engineering marvel, it's a statement of intent. But here's the twist. The Brahmaputra doesn't just belong to China. It's an international river that flows through multiple countries, each with their own interests and reliance on its waters. In other words, China's ambitions are far-reaching, and the consequences of their actions could be felt well beyond its borders. The dam itself is positioned at a critical juncture of the river near the Indian border. It could give China unprecedented control over the river's flow. If China decides to withhold water during dry seasons or flood the river at will, it could wreak havoc on downstream countries. This is no longer just an engineering project. It's a political chess piece, one that could shift the balance of power in South Asia. To truly grasp the magnitude of this project, we need to understand why the Brahmaputra is so crucial to India, Bangladesh, and even China. The river stretches nearly 3,000 kilometers from its origin in Tibet to its mouth in Bangladesh. Along the way, it provides water to millions of people across all three countries, making it an essential resource. For India, the Brahmaputra is a lifeline for its northeastern states, like Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. It's the source of irrigation for rice and tea plantations, and its floodplains feed the nation's second-largest agricultural zone. Without the river's steady flow, entire regions would be left to struggle with droughts, crop failures, and widespread food shortages. For Bangladesh, the situation is equally dire. The Brahmaputra, which converges with the Ganges to form the Padma River, is the primary source of water for millions of people. It sustains agriculture, supports fisheries, and provides drinking water for cities like Dhaka. The river also carries sediment that replenishes the soil, vital for rice and other crops. In fact, over 60% of Bangladesh's agriculture is dependent on the Brahmaputra's water. Without it, the country would face a catastrophic water crisis. Now, consider China's role in all of this. While the country is the upstream power, it has historically been very protective of its water resources. The Brahmaputra has been dubbed China's most important international river. The country already controls the headwaters and has built dams and reservoirs in the Tibetan Plateau for decades. But this latest dam is different. It's much larger, and its potential to disrupt the water supply to downstream countries is significant. India, particularly in the northeastern states, depends on the Brahmaputra for much of its water. So when China started work on this super dam, it set off alarm bells in Delhi. Experts worry that China could manipulate the flow of the river either by withholding water during India's dry season or releasing it in excess during the monsoons, leading to catastrophic flooding. The Indian government has been vocal about its concerns, citing the potential for downstream disruptions. In fact, a change in the river's flow could lead to a severe water shortage for millions of people. States like Assam and Arunachal Pradesh are heavily dependent on the river for agriculture. A drop in water levels would devastate crops, leading to food shortages and economic instability. There's also the issue of international law. India and China have never signed a formal water-sharing agreement for the Brahmaputra, unlike their arrangement with other rivers like the Indus. This leaves India vulnerable to China's decisions. While China insists that the dam won't harm downstream countries, the lack of transparency and international oversight raises serious doubts. Moreover, India and China are already engaged in a tense border standoff in regions like Ladakh. Adding water scarcity to the mix could escalate tensions further, turning the river into yet another point of contention between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. A conflict over water rights could deepen distrust and trigger military confrontations, something neither nation wants, but both may be edging closer to. If India is worried, Bangladesh's concerns are even more pressing. The country sits at the mouth of the Brahmaputra, making it especially vulnerable to any changes in the river's flow. For Bangladesh, the Brahmaputra isn't just a river, it's the very foundation of its agriculture, water supply, and economic health. Bangladesh's economy is heavily reliant on the Brahmaputra's waters. The river floods its delta during the monsoon season, replenishing the soil and keeping crops like rice thriving. However, if China were to cut back the flow of water, Bangladesh would face immediate water scarcity. This could lead to crop failure, food shortages, and a humanitarian crisis on a massive scale. Adding to the tension is the fact that Bangladesh has a dense population. Over 160 million people live in a country smaller than some US states. A disruption in the water supply would push the country to the brink, sparking internal conflicts, migration crises, and even regional instability. Bangladesh has already expressed concerns to China about the potential impacts of the dam, but without binding international agreements or a strong diplomatic framework, these concerns often go unheard. As Bangladesh's population grows and its water needs increase, the stakes are only getting higher. So why is China so invested in the Brahmaputra? On the surface, the answer is simple: energy. The dam is designed to generate electricity to power China's rapidly growing economy, especially in the southwestern regions like Sichuan and Yunnan. The Chinese government is committed to expanding its hydroelectric capacity, and this project could provide a significant portion of the energy needed to meet demand. But there's more to it than just power generation. China has a long history of using water as a tool for geopolitical leverage. By controlling the Brahmaputra, China gains significant influence over both India and Bangladesh. In a region where resources are increasingly scarce, water is a valuable commodity. And for China, controlling a river that flows through 3 countries is a strategic advantage that can't be ignored. Moreover, China has long sought to establish itself as the dominant power in Asia, and controlling the Brahmaputra could help it exert influence over South Asia. Whether it's through water-sharing agreements or military presence, China could use this river as leverage in future negotiations, pushing India and Bangladesh to fall in line with its broader geopolitical goals. As the dam project progresses, both India and Bangladesh have voiced their concerns. India has called for more transparency, urging China to provide information about the dam's design, operations, and potential impacts. Bangladesh, on the other hand, has asked for guarantees that its water supply won't be disrupted. However, China has been reluctant to engage in meaningful dialogue. The Chinese government maintains that the dam will not harm downstream nations, but the lack of independent verification leaves many skeptical. This has led to heightened tensions, with India and Bangladesh increasingly wary of China's intentions. The problem lies in the lack of a comprehensive water-sharing agreement between China, India, and Bangladesh. Without formal treaties or an international framework, there's little recourse for the countries if China decides to alter the river's flow. In the absence of cooperation, the Brahmaputra could become a flashpoint for conflict, dragging the entire region into a crisis. As China moves forward with its mega dam on the Brahmaputra, the The stakes couldn't be higher. A single decision could change the course of life for millions of people in India and Bangladesh, affecting everything from agriculture to drinking water. This is not just a battle for resources, it's a struggle for control over the very lifeblood of a region. Will diplomacy prevail, or will the desire for power and control turn this peaceful river into a battlefield? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear. The Brahmaputra has become a new front in the water wars of the 21st century. What do you think? Is this dam a threat to regional peace, or is it just another part of China's quest for dominance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like and share if you found this video eye-opening, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Press the bell icon so you don't miss any updates on this unfolding crisis. We'll be watching closely, and we hope you will too.